This video is starting out a little bit differently than some of my other videos. This isn't the beginning of this video. This is actually the end of the video, showing you two pieces. They're actually pretty much done, but not done. And then the video is going to start showing you what I did and where I got to, but I just wanted to give you a quick view of the pieces before we got into the video. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I am going to let you watch it, and then when we get to the end, I'll talk to you a bit more about these pieces. Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and we're going to do another test today. A while back, I had done my video that had putting these styrofoam balls, mini balls, into resin in order that I could make my pieces, not have them be so heavy, have the styrofoam balls take up some of the space in the piece. And as you had seen, and if you haven't, go back and watch the video if you want to, that these helped. I don't know how much they helped, but they did help. And we mixed them in the resin, and then we poured them in the container and went from there. And from a Christmas tree perspective, kind of turned out cool, and there's probably a lot you could do with something like that. And then today, for whatever reason, I'm going, well, what if we put the styrofoam balls in mixed mold? And like, I know sort of from, I know resin's different, and I think of the ceramic resin, and potentially it will not give the piece the structure it needs to be really good. So that's fair. I'm just trying this out because I thought, well, why not? Let's see what happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this mold. I wanted to use a mold that was not flat. Like originally I had thought, well, why don't we use something like this? And then I thought, but you want something that's got some depth to it so that when you pour it, it's got somewhere to go. I don't know if that makes any sense. If I have any left over, I'm going to throw it into one of these coasters. However, I thought this would be a better test. And the other thing I think that's going to be really interesting is whether or not when we do this, if like the resin, we have like a split of, you've got your styrofoam balls and then you've got your mixed mold ceramic resin, or whether or not because of the product itself, it will be better at handling and keeping the styrofoam balls sort of within it as opposed to one and then the other. I don't know. So we're going to try it. I am going to add in some Craft Smart colors. I have tin and I have periwinkle. I decided to use these. I've done craft paint in these pieces before, so I'm going to do it again. When I've done this particular one, it takes about 100 mils of resin. I'm going to mix up 150 mils of the ceramic resin mixed to mold, and I'm going to leave, hopefully, the rest of the space can be filled up with the styrofoam balls. I don't know if it's going to be enough, and I'll deal with that at the end of this if it's not. And if I have too much, then I will just pull over one of these coasters and throw the rest in there. So I have options. I have something I can work with if I've got too much. I haven't measured anything out. I'm going to go do that, and then we're going to come back. What I'm going to do with my colors is I'm going to mix them in the water and then mix that into the ceramic resin just because I am. So let me go and measure everything out that I need to, and then we'll come back and we will see what kind of, I don't know, I'm going to get up to, and whether or not this is a good idea or a really not so good idea. But it's an idea nonetheless, and it's one I want to play with. I will be back in a bit. I'm back. I have measured out my powder. I've measured out my water. And as I was doing that, I was thinking, so when's the best time to add in these styrofoam balls? And I've decided I'm going to mix them in to the powder now. And I figure, well, why not? Worst case scenario, as I say, this doesn't work out the way I want it to. So let's just open this up. And I'm going to put a scoop full. I've got a scoop out here. keep that away. So what I figured I'd do is I would use one of these measuring scoops, and I would get enough to fill as such with, you know, the odd ones that are thinking of sticking to the side. And I put a scoop in each. I split the powder in half, so I've got 75 of each set out. And yeah, like I don't know. It's an interesting test. And as I say, if you don't play, you don't know. Some things you shouldn't play with, that's fair, I get it. But other things, well, we want to test out and see what difference it's going to make, if any. So let me just put that off to the side. We'll put my, I have shook up my paint. That didn't work the way I wanted it to. Anyway, I don't want to, I'm trying to get that dried up paint. There we go, got it. So put a little bit of this in. Yep, that should work. We'll see how it looks and whether or not we want to add a little bit more to that. So what have you been up to lately? And what's the weather doing? I have to come up with some new questions. Just to have something a little different, right? So I can stop asking the same questions. I'm trying to think of anything that's gone on in my life lately that would make me want to come up with a different question, and I don't have one. So we'll just do this and we won't worry about questions in this video. All right, so that's a very pretty color. And do you notice what I've got on my table this time? Before I even started the video tip, I said, go get your Lazy Susan, Natalie. You bought it for a reason, you might as well use it. Okay, so that looks like it's pretty decently mixed up. It's a very pretty color. And I know the tin is. I've worked with the tin before, not in doing this, but the tin is a very pretty color. Right. And I thought they'd look nice together. Again, I could be totally wrong. There are days I get it right, and other days, yeah. Again, where's the color chart that I might need? Now, hopefully this will mix in relatively decent because it's a metallic. I'm going to do like a better job of mixing than with just the regular paint. Now, both of these, I believe, are a multi-surface paint. I also have extra water should I need it. And it's kind of interesting. I haven't worked with the mix to mold recently. It's not like I'm trying to, keep it all to myself or anything like that. I just haven't figured out what I want to use it in. Although I do have an upcoming video that we're going to do that I think is going to be kind of cool and fun, and I need to get going on that one. I'm trying to get ahead on my videos so that because if I get into a bit of a panic if I don't have my videos lined up, because I think I've mentioned before, they do take a bit of time. So I like having them all organized. Get out a wet one because I'm getting paint on me now. All right, so let's do this. And we'll see what's going to happen, how this is going to work. I didn't mix quite well enough in the bottom of my container. And again, we might have to add a little bit more water to this. Sometimes I find whatever gets added to the mix to mold, it sometimes needs a little bit of extra water. So that's mixed up pretty decently. It makes me think of cereal in the morning. No, I have no intentions of eating this. Don't eat, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat. Follow manufacturer's guidelines, right? Don't eat, and never put this stuff down the drain. Never, ever, ever, ever. Again, it's got to be disposed of properly because of what it is. Okay. Okay, and now I'm gonna mix up my gray. Okay, poured that in kind of quick. Hopefully this this gray will darken up a little bit, because right now it doesn't look very dark. And I don't think the styrofoam balls are gonna, I think they're coated with something, so I have no expectation that they're gonna soak up anything, because they've got a bit of a shine to them. So oops, let's do that. I'll clean that out a bit. Okay, now I'm gonna try and do this with my stir stick here, because I don't want all the styrofoam balls and none of the product, right? Because that would be pointless. And I'm definitely going to be bouncing that around. And again, I apologize for being, well, I can't apologize for being right-handed, so I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to have lots of this left over, I think. Yeah, because I got to get liquid and styrofoam in there. So I'm just gonna, what I'm doing is I'm holding back some of the styrofoam balls so that I can get liquid in there as well. Okay. I know. Lazy Susan, and what am I doing? Yeah. You got it. Well, I definitely didn't need as much as I have, so I'm going to end up throwing into a coaster. I'm going to get some of the liquid in here. Okay, so we're definitely going to have to. Okay, so let's just pounce that down a little bit. This is too funny. I'm going to be so curious to know what this is going to do. I want to try and get a little bit of liquid in there and no more of the styrofoam balls. This is going to be cute. Okay, so I have some leftover. Oh, I love it. This is cool. It so reminds me of cereal. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone. You're just gonna throw the rest of it in here, in my little coaster here. Or Rice Krispie squares. There's the other thing this reminds me of. Yeah, it's too funny. So it's gonna be interesting to see what this does, right? You're probably going, are you out of your mind, girl? What are you trying to accomplish here? Well, as I say, you're never going to know if you don't give it a go. Never going to know if you don't give it a go. Oh, this is too funny. Too funny, too funny, too funny. So let's. Coaster might have been the better play, eh? Again, you know what? It was one of those. Let's see what happens, right? I don't know. If I don't give it a go, I don't know, and who knows? If you watch Daniel Cooper at all, he's all over doing different kind of things, and so am I. All right. The coaster might have been. I hope you're laughing at this like I am. All right. So let's just kind of. I give up. I'm not even going to try that. I just want to give my coaster a bit of a, a hit up. All right. So we're going to leave this. We're going to see what happens with our our mold here. I definitely, either these are going to stick together or they're not. And the other thing is that I would definitely have to sand this down. But you know what? Who knows? And it may, and I have to admit, there may not be enough liquid in this to have it work out. But you know what? I don't care. I want to experiment, play a bit of a mad scientist in doing this, and we'll just see. There are definitely way too many, I think, of the styrofoam balls in that, for sure. But this one is kind of interesting. So maybe the coaster was more of the way to go than this tea light that I've got. But anyway, we do not know. We are going to find out in about an hour's time how these two laid out. And just depending on what happens with the coaster, I might see about putting a top coat on it before we take it out, of like a top coat of resin on it. I'm thinking UV just because I want to get it done fast and furious, but I don't know. So I will be back in an hour's time, and we will be doing something with this for sure, and then I'll make a decision on this one. See you in a bit. Are you ready for this? I've been playing around with some other things while I've been waiting for this to set up, and I came up with a kind of a cool idea, but it's one of those things that I know how much I love to show you guys different pieces I've been working on, but this one I want to work with just a little bit more before I show you what I'm up to and whatnot. So you'll just have to stay tuned, I guess. Anyway, with this coaster, I'm really liking it. If I were to cover it, I had thought just do a clear coat of resin on it. Let's get my rock is this ceiling. It's hot. Anyway, I know I've been laughing throughout this one, and it's kind of cute when you do that, because it's like, oh wow, there's an interesting idea that may have gone, again, south. But hey, I try it and you won't. But you might, because you might have a better idea than I did, or a different way of doing it, what have you. So with this coaster, I'm liking how it looks. I like the fact that the styrofoam balls are, you can see them, right? What I thought about doing was, yes, a clear coat, but then I thought I've got some colored UV resins. You've seen the Light Wish video I did, and I wondered about taking some of my Let's Resin and not doing it one specific color, but in between, in doing different colors, and then putting a clear coat on top of it, because I don't want to lose sight of the styrofoam balls. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if I cover it with resin, you have the opportunity again of flipping it from one side to the other. Now, we obviously, if we're going to do the UV resin and whatnot, we can't take this out to see how it's going to look on the other side. But I like the concept of just randomly putting some colors in it and then putting a clear coat on top of it. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this piece. And because of that, I'm not going to do it in this video. What we'll do is I will post pictures of it when it's done on my Being Intentionally Creative Facebook page for me to sit and sort of take you through this. I mean, obviously, we're going to have to put the resin on. We're going to have to cure it. I don't know what colors 100% I want to use right now, but I still see this as a work in progress and definitely something I could do. Now, the other option, if I am letting this sit overnight, if I do, would be to, randomly place sort of in here small tattoos that I might have. We've had issues, we know that before, with me trying to get tattoos on things. If I let it sit overnight, there's a better opportunity for me to be able to apply them and maybe just do the colored resin on the outside. So there are other options available to me what to do with this piece. So I'm not done with it yet, and I will post on my Facebook page once I sort of figure it out. And who knows, maybe, you know, sort of once I get it laid out how I want to do it, you know, I may bring back and go, okay, so this is what we're doing to finish this piece off, because I'm not done with it yet. So let's just set that aside very carefully, and I'll get back to it. Now, our centerpiece of everything. So let me get rid of my Lazy Susan, because I truly don't need this anymore. So I'll just place that down here on my floor. So I am very curious about this. I don't know how this is going to have played out, or what this is going to look like, or how big of a mess I've made, but I feel confident that I can take it out. It is warm. I'm not going to lie. It is warm. But, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed. Now, I guess we should test the top. Well, okay, so that one came off. So I might end up with some styrofoam balls that I find, you know, 6 months from now, but that's okay, right? So I'm going to very carefully pull away from this. Again, it is very possible. I'm almost thinking I should have something that these styrofoam balls can go into. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just take one of these other coasters I have over here as I figure out what to do with things. And if they do fall, that they can fall into it, hopefully. And then maybe I just, you know, make a piece with them. So am I surprised? Not really. There wasn't enough product to hold this. I'm almost wondering if I might be, you know, let's do that. I'll just rub off some of these, because if they're going to come off anyways, I might as well just sort of help the gang along here. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that it hasn't been a total whatever today. But again, I mean, you figure this out, right? Definitely didn't need as many of the styrofoam balls. You know, that was a little over the top, right? Yeah. You can say it. I get it. Natalie, you went a little overboard with them. Okay. Alrighty. Definitely warm. Okay, so here we have it. Let's just place that down. Obviously, they sat in the middle of it. I'm thinking, so I'm not saying anything because I'm kind of in my head going, kind of, now what? But I think it's going to be relatively light, because of the fact that there's so many of them in here. Like it's not as heavy as it would have been had this been straight ceramic resin. I know that. So yeah, I'm trying to sort of wrap my head around. I could drizzle resin around this, but then, you know, the problem becomes, how are you going to set it down? So, I mean, we've kind of got that issue. This is definitely going to have to be cleaned out. So I'm just going to throw that off to the side, put that off to the side. I don't know. I'm not going to call that a total waste, because I don't think it is. Just give me a second. I want to grab, I've got a cookie rack over here. I just want to bring it over here. Let's put this up on here, because we'll let set up on there. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around some ideas. So I'm not done. I kind of thought I might just sort of finish this video, but I want to try something. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to pull out the ones that are really easy to get out. Like I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this at all. Not putting a lot of pressure on it. Just kind of, let's get these really loose ones out. It is possible too that if I let this sit overnight that there'll be more that are set in. But I have and it's because of the other thing I was doing, that I've got an idea. Yeah, okay. So are you thinking this was a total flop, or are you kind of going, ooh, what's she gonna do? Okay, let's just bang that off. I could very carefully, and I'm thinking maybe with UV resin, I could like build it up, right? And get it, well, it won't be as round as what it would have been had it come out of the mold properly, which I'm going to turn right side out, and I'm definitely going to clean that because that's going to need to be cleaned, no doubt. So what if, do you feel daring? Do you feel kind of brave? I'm going to pull over. I'm just trying to think of the colors I want to use. Blue for sure. Well, let's try a couple. Okay, alcohol ink. And I almost want to spray this. I almost want to spray it. I had thought about, what if you put alcohol ink with clear alcohol and then used as a spritzer. Oh, I'm thinking, and I'm going to be taking up not a lot of your time. Okay, let's just randomly let a couple of drops of this fall where it may. I don't really want it on me, but I want it up high enough that it's gonna, and I don't really care if it goes over the sides, you know that? I don't. Because the piece might have been kind of messed up from the word go anyway. I don't want that one, I want this one. So let's just, I don't know. I kind of, I've got idea. Well, I don't have a lot of ideas going through my head. I just kind of have a really random. It's kind of funny. I got this spraying all over the place. I don't know. I kind of want to get and put. I don't have another one of these small spray bottles, but I'm just sort of wondering how I can sort of, I guess I'm almost envisioning it bleeding through it. And I probably got some of this on me too, which is okay. But yeah, I don't think we're done with this. I still think there's room, there's an avenue of being able to do something else with it. I'm just not 100% sure what yet. I'm not sure. But I definitely think there's room for being able to do something else with it. And I know what some people have done with alcohol is they put it on saran wrap and then wrap things in it. So that sort of thought is going through my head right now with the purple and the blue. Putting some UV resin on it to sort of set the bottom once it's like I want it to air dry for sure. But I'm tempted to see about getting some saran wrap and doing that. So give me a few minutes and we're going to come back to this. Okay, I have a piece of saran wrap down. I have now 4 alcohol inks. One is a Pearl by Tim Holtz, right? Ranger. a dark red by Magic Fly, and then my Bria Reese ultramarine blue and the purple, which you saw me just sort of drizzle on the top of this, and it didn't really go anywhere of anywhere. And some of you may be thinking, well, it's just going to soak in because that's what it does. What I want to do now is I'm going to put some down on here, and then we're going to wrap it up. And I think I have to wait a little bit of time for this to dry. I'm not sure I'm going to do that because I think it's going to soak into that rather quickly. And I also want to use my big blower that has come in handy a couple of times for things. So let's just sort of spritz out wherever. Again, I don't work with alcohol inks very much when it comes to doing sort of, quote, different types of artistic whatevers. I don't quite have my sailor legs on for that one just yet. I haven't played with them enough, and yet I know some people can do, you know, some amazing things with them. So this is sort of one of those, did our piece turn out correctly? Not really. You know, can we save it? Can we do something a little different with it? Well, you know, maybe we can. So I'm just going to randomly squirt stuff everywhere. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to place it here. I don't know what I'm doing. And if this idea doesn't work, then I have another idea that I think will work even better. But let's just bring it up. I don't even know. This stuff may even have dried already on my saran wrap. Again, don't know what I'm doing. Isn't that good to know? But then we learn together, eh? We're learning together, and I think that's what matters most, is that we learn together. So all I'm doing, again, trial and error for sure. I'm just, you know, squeezing it in my hands. And like I say, I think it was already drying on the plastic. You know, not much of anything. So you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to sort of give away a bit of another idea away. And it may be something you guys have done. I don't know. But this isn't working for me. I don't like this at all. So we're going to get rid of this. What I'm going to do, because I did it earlier, again, I was going to show you later, but I'm going to show you now. So these inks and a couple others I also got at the garage sale I had been at. And I was busy cleaning off the lids and whatnot. So all I'm going to do, actually I'm going to put down, because I don't want this to soak onto my silicone mat, because it will. Let's take another piece of this. Let's put this down. Oops. Yuck. When you want to do something, you just got to go slow. So we're just going to put this on. I think I'm just going to fold it in half. I just random drop it on here. You know what? I'll put that back on later. I don't waste time putting lids on stuff I don't need to right now. I'm actually going to put some block on that too. Put block on that. Give me the block. Now all I want to do is I'm going to roll it up. So the baby wipe is wet, which is actually kind of helpful. And then with the other piece, I just, you know, I took it and I wrapped it up and then I just smooshed it together. smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. I don't know if you can see it, but it is kind of, oh, maybe you can't, but anyway. And then, sort of like a tie-dye. And then we're just gonna put this on here. Good thing this stuff isn't really brittle, eh? And I'm working with such a hard piece. And then I'm just going in, and I want to do the inside of this as well. So I am getting some coloring on the inside. Not a lot, but I am getting some coloring. Oops. Yeah, don't crush the bottom, eh? No pressure on the bottom, Natalie. And then we can put, not black, maybe some of the red. And then I'm just tapping it on. And I can add more like plain, clear, not plain, but clear alcohol. Should have probably done this in the first place. This would have been a much better idea than what I did. And some of the purple. It's not the, you know, best laid plan, you know, to come up with, but I did it on another piece and I did like how it sort of, what it gave it. But I definitely have, yeah, the other way didn't work for me. I am going to maybe just put a bit of drop in there. And where's my sprayer? That spritzed it around kind of cool. And then I'm just gonna dab. That's all I'm doing. And then in some of these areas, these crevices, like I just go in with this. And it may or may not give you anything. And this is, like I say, this is just I'm just playing. I'm just trying to come up with something new and different. And it's looking kind of messy, but hey, what the heck. Now the other thing I wanted to do with the piece that I had been playing with earlier that you haven't seen is I want to and just randomly see if I spray this, and hopefully I don't get stuff like everywhere. Is my arm in the way? I figured maybe if I sprayed it, I could get happening with it. Like in the inside, it's easier. The inside, I should have done this. But see what it's doing on the inside there? Because it's spreading it out. So let's take a little bit of this. Just drop a drop. Oh, you know what I haven't been using? Yeah, I don't like that idea either. See, this is what I learn. I learn where it's like, okay, I don't want to be doing it that way. I don't think it's going to be a total flop. I really don't. It's just a matter of, you know, how are we going to encase this? I do want to work with the UV resin on the bottom of this. I want to try and make it flat, and maybe that will improve it somewhat. But I thought it was kind of cool doing something like this and then matting it around. Now this one's kind of, well, it's still fairly damp, but I'm not really pulling much out of it. But I figure if you sort of wipe around, you can move stuff around a little bit, you know, and maybe get a little bit more into some of those areas. into the little crevices and whatnot. So I will admit, it looks like a bit of a gong show happening with this piece, but you know, maybe once I get it all done and put together, and it won't be. You know, I would definitely not use this saran wrap again. That did not work for me anyway. And as I say, I'm not a, you know, I don't use alcohol all the time. The other thing I did with the other piece I've been working on is when I had crevices like that, I just took one of these small little micro brushes and I'd use it to get into those spots that I wasn't doing very well with my hands, just to get rid of and to add more color. But not bad. Not great, not bad. And you know what we're gonna do, because we're doing it anyway. If you're gonna go, you might as well do it all, go all the way. So let me take, and here's a video that I really didn't think would be more than, you know, 5 minutes. It's turning into a bit of a long one. I just need to plug in my lamp. Let go, let go, let go. So let's plug this in. Let's take some of this. Actually, let's not say we did. Where is pink, black, green, green, pink, purple? Let's just see what we can do with color. Now, you're either at this point, some people may have left. It's like a movie that's gone horribly wrong. But let's just see. Let's let this go in. I got air bubbles happening. There's a surprise. I'll just put some of this around. And you're right, it may just soak in. It may go places I don't want it to go. This would definitely be a piece I would put outside to cure once I get it to a, you know, a certain level. But let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. I'm not giving up. It's one of those, sometimes the, you know, what you consider a disaster, for whatever reason, figures itself out and stops being a complete disaster. Again, I'd like to get, I wish the color wasn't so dark. I'm not fussy on that, but again, I'm not willing to throw in the towel either. So we'll just start curing this. I know I wasn't going to do this until it had time to dry, but at this point, I don't think it'll really matter, because the alcohol on the outside will dry out. And as long as I wait to seal it, we'll be okay. So I'm thinking what I might want to do is get, no, that went in the wrong part of the garbage, didn't it? Is to get some more spritzer bottles that I can mix clear alcohol with colored and spritz things. But I am determined I'm going to figure this other one out, because like I said, in the one piece I did, it looks kind of cool. I just want to play with the idea a little bit more. And the saran wrap just did not do this any favors. Let's see. Okay. So we're getting a seal on that. Nope, that's not what I want. So where is, I know I've got a blue over here. Why is it always the last ones you look at that you find your color you're looking for? I think I have a blue over here. Oh yes, there we go. Let's put some blue on this. let it randomly go. I kind of want to have a little bit of control over it, but I'm also willing to let it sort of go where it wants to. Sort of have it treated like icicles or something like that, going off the side if it wants. I think I'll take my lighter and just, in case there are any bubbles, see if I can't get rid of them. Oh yeah, I guess I should be careful of the styrofoam. Okay, let's do this. I don't know. Okay. I think what I'm going to do after I get this done is I am going to let you go and see what else I can do with this piece. And then what I might do is come back once I've sort of figured it out, got it done, and I can tell you what I did to, you know, get it to the final point that I get it to. Or if it does come down that it's, you know, a bit of a complete, well, that was a waste of my time. But I don't think it is. There's something about this that just says keep going and see where you end up. See where you end up. Because we don't know. We don't know for sure. And I've also got those Pebeo colors in my other room that I could put on top of this. And, you know, make it look better. I'm not done with this piece. I'm not done with it. I want to keep playing with it. Anyways, so that's where we'll stop for right now. I've got some drips of UV resin. They need to be touched up. They need to be, whatchamacallit. But yeah, I am not done with this. Anyway, I'll come back once I've sort of got this where I want it to be, and then I will give you the Cole's Notes version of what I did. I'll see you in a bit. Here we are. We're at the end of the video. And I can't remember how long this video is. I think it was kind of long. But I wasn't even going to show it to you. This was one of those videos that I just thought, this is just sort of going everywhere. I can't even remember all the different products I used in this. But let's talk a little bit about where we ended up. I wanted to finish these two pieces up. I wanted to show you what I had done to them. Let's start with the coaster. And I do have a question for you in general. How many of you, when you're working with UV resin, you find that as you're curing, you get little, I'm going to say pinholes in the UV resin? Now, when I tilt this a certain way, I can see all kinds of them. And I tend to think this has something to do with the heat that's being applied. Now, I will say, I did decoupage the top of this with the napkin. I did seal it once. I did put a top coat of paint on it that gives me the blue, and I don't know if you can see the blue sparkle in that. And then I put resin on it. I don't know if that's got something to do with it. However, I have seen this in the past where I have the little air bubbles in the UV resin. And I'm just wondering if anyone else has experienced it. It's not, you'd catch it if you tilt it the right way. I don't like it, but I'm not really sure what the cause of it is either. If you've experienced that and you know what's causing it, do you want to let me know in the comments below? Because I'd really appreciate that. Anyway, so this is one side of this coaster. And here is the other side of the coaster finished. And I played around with this. I did, I just wanted to play. You would have seen, and I'm having to work from memory here because it's been a while since I've watched this video, putting in the styrofoam balls. And then after that, then I started to play. I played with colors. I put in some colored glass. I put in some decoupage paper. I just sort of filled in around what was going on. I wanted something abstract. I wanted something easy. And then once that was done, I did put a clear coat of resin on top of it. So I think it gives it a really cool look at the end of the day. Bit of work, I won't lie. There was a bit of work that went into this, but I like it. I think it's unusual. I think it's different. And I believe by looking at the styrofoam balls, that I put some kind of colorant on top of them. Couldn't tell you what that is now. I couldn't tell you what that is now. And I did yellow as well. And again, yeah, not sure. This is going to be one of those videos where you really don't know what the products are because Natalie doesn't remember what the products are. But it turned out pretty cool. So it's one of those two-sided, which way do you want your coaster to be? Something, I'll say elegant, or do you want to have a bit of a Vincent van Gogh type, or a Pablo Picasso type look to your, to your coaster? I am going to let this sit out in the sun. Well, not in the sun. I've got a place in my window where I'm going to let that sit for a little while longer so it can really harden up that UV resin. It is set. Like I can rub my hand across it or my finger across it. I'm very gentle with UV resin, more so than I am with 2-part epoxy, just because I am. And yeah, so this was one of those kind of cool pieces. So this is how that turned out. Now, I sanded down the bottom of this a little bit. I put some more UV resin on the bottom of this. I'm not putting any more on this. I ended up taking some napkin and I sort of spotted it in 3 different places. The napkin had squares on it with different designs on it. So I took 3 of those, threw it on. I believe I used my Pebeo products that I have to sort of color this up. And then I decided to throw the napkin on it, and I threw a piece of the napkin inside, and I have coated that I think once or twice. And I added some color. I have a Folkart, I believe it is, that gives you the glitter in it. I don't know if you can see it with the way I'm tilting it. I'll tilt it a little bit more for you. Anyway, I did that on the inside. I know this is Pebeo on the top of this. That I can tell you. Look at me go. Like I said, this was a while ago. What else did I do with this? I used the mix to mold to coat this. That I did do on the outside. I even did it on the Pebeo. I didn't really need it, but I just did the whole thing. I think I put 1 coat on initially after I decoupaged it, and then I put the blue on. Then I think I put another coat of the mix to mold on top of it. This would not go outside for love nor money. No way. I see that being a disaster waiting to happen. It's got a bit of a wobble to it. But it was interesting how when I had this finished, and you'll have seen in the video, it was like, I don't know what the heck to do with this thing now. But I played, and I just kept adding colorants to it, and I kept looking at it, and I thought, what can I do to this to make it and finish it up? And I just kept playing with it. I had at one point sort of given some consideration to just pouring resin right over top of the whole thing and letting it go down the sides, but I decided against that. It's one of those pieces that when I think of the tray that you will have seen on Thursday and how sort of messed up that is, and I'm not completely happy with it, and I might play with that a bit more, but all I did with this is I just sort of kept adding to it and working with it to get it to a place where, yeah, I like this, and I think this is kind of neat. As far as a tea light goes, it's got a bit of weight to it. And the same with this piece. It was, let's play, let's see what we can do with it. And it truly is part of the creative process. You got to play. You got to want to play. You don't have to play, but I think it's a lot of fun, and you get to see sort of what you can do and expand on, your talents and your creativity and see where you end up. Anyway, I decided, obviously, that I wanted to share this video with you. I'd like your comments below on what you think, because, sort of ending this off and seeing where this was, and I'm going to have to go back and look at the video myself. But, it's a very ornate, unique, different. It's kind of fun. And that's what I love about some of the pieces I do. Anyway, thank you for watching this video with me. Thank you for having the patience for the fact that this is probably when I started this, it was probably a month ago. It was sort of after we had done our initial let's play with the styrofoam balls that I decided to play with them a little bit more and figure out what I could do. And, you know, here are my end results. Have you given it a go? Have you tried the styrofoam? And some people, I'll sort of wrap this up very quickly, but some people have actually given me suggestions on how to work with them so that they're not, you know, going all over the place, because styrofoam is so light and it just will go all over the place, depending on what you do with it. But yeah, so here we have it, and I'm done. Thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing. I really appreciate it. Our numbers are growing. The videos are getting close to 100 now, which is awesome, because I'm doing my best to stay to 3 days a week, and sometimes, you know, it's the day before that I'm getting a video done and ready to put up to you guys. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a subscriber, commenting, liking. Thank you for it all. Take care. Bye for now.